Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this presentation is titled, I Bought a House That Was Full of Curry. I Got a Great Price, but I'm Not Sure It Was Worth It in the End. Now, one thing I like to do is, as a good real estate investor, you like to find a house that's a little bit below market value for a situation you can correct. And I thought I could correct a very strong presence of curry in the house. I found out I might have been wrong. Um, One interesting thing about this, the real estate agent was a Vietnamese individual, and I don't think he was as sensitive to American culture as he should have been, because the people who owned this house were Hindu, and they had adorning the entrances to the house a bunch of swastikas. Now, I'll explain that in just a second. And people would come up to that. They'd open the door. They'd see the swastikas, and they'd say, and the real estate agent told me this. He says, they would say, I'm not buying a house from a bunch of Nazis, not realizing this was a good luck symbol from the Hindu religion. The other thing is, when you open the door, you got hit by the smell of curry, and it just about knocked you down. Well, I thought I could remedy that. Okay, here's the situation. Swastikas were used in Hindu religion. Very common. You see them all over graveyards. It's a good luck symbol for them. Not quite as well received in this country, typically. So, if you're going to market a house, you should be well aware of social responsibilities or social sensitivities. When I took Air Force survival training, one of the parts of the courses was all sorts of things in various cultures that could get you basically killed if you violated certain customs, certain things you just didn't do. You didn't reach in the Saudi Arabia area. You didn't reach in for food with your left hand. Things like that. Just all sorts of little things that are good to know to keep you out of trouble. So I thought I could get rid of the curry. How do you get rid of it? Well, it's not as easy to get rid of as I originally thought. You can try ozone, stuff like that. Eventually, I had to resort to some very extreme tactics to get rid of it. Now here's the kitchen, and on top of those cabinets was literally an eighth inch of crud. It was slimy, gooey, greasy, and I had to get up there with a paint scraper and literally scrape it up, put it in a bucket, and get it off the top. And my wife was helping me do this, and I said, I'm really sorry that you're having to do this. And she says, hey, it was my idea. You get into rental houses. So I said, well, it's your own damn fault then. But anyway, okay, that's the first part. You clean it off of all surfaces. Well, it's on the walls, and it's in the paint, and it's in the ducts. And I talked to an attorney friend of mine who had been involved in rehabs. He says, what you got to do is you got to use Kills, and don't use the water soluble, use the oil base. You got to clean it. So I had to clean the whole house, all the walls. And it had these nice high ceilings that were hard to get to. So I had to clean all of that. And essentially, I replaced all the lights and fans because it was almost too difficult to clean those. So I just basically threw those out. All the shades, all the drapes, anything that I couldn't clean, and I sprayed the whole thing with Kilts. Well, the trouble is, this is in the wintertime, and they say you need adequate ventilation, and they are not kidding. This oil-based Kills will do you in, and it did me too. It's in the winter, so I had to keep the house warm. So while I'm spraying this, I would get almost overcome with the fumes such that I almost passed out, and I had to go rushing outdoors, get a breath, kind of air it out a little bit, come back in. Yeah, not good. I wasn't very smart when I was doing this, but I got about $30,000 off the asking price, and I ended up buying the house for 182,000 in '07, just before the real estate market crashed. Okay, so yeah, I got not a decent price at the time of the market, but that price didn't come back for quite a long time. But I got it cleaned up. I got Kills in there. I repainted the thing. I had a few first tenants that, yeah, they weren't the best. late on paying rent, stuff like that. They later moved out owing me rent, and yeah, that happens. But I now have some very good tenants in there, and they've been long-term tenants for quite a few years. Now you have normal stuff. You have like I had to do some plumbing work. The valve was leaking, so I had to replace the valve. You always got to have some money though for kind of extra things. I had to replace. I had the place now almost 20 years, so I ended up replacing the heating and air conditioning system, and I had to do the roof. This is before I found out that you wait for a hailstorm, so I paid for having the roof done. That was about $4,000, so I got a fair amount of sunk costs in this house, but it's doing well on rental, and every month they're there. I get income off of it, and they pay down the equity, so I'm slowly having them pay for the house. So Zillow says now in 2024 it's worth 240,600. That's what Zillow says it's worth. The market's been a little depressed lately because of the high interest rates. I bought it for 182 in 2007, so coming up close to 20 years. Not like some of the Florida properties I got rid of too early went up, but it's not too bad. It's decent. I've got good renters in there now, and they're paying down the mortgage, so I'm happy with that. Recently, my tenant called me up, and well, he's done a couple of good things. He said, yeah, the garage door opener's gone out. And he says, well, if you get me one, I'll install it. Okay. So I got him a garage door opener, and he installed it. And then the next time, just recently, the hot water heater went out. And he says, well, if you'll buy a new one from Menards, the local kind of Home Depot place, it's our local store that's equivalent to Home Depot for those people not in this area. I bought it. He picked it up and installed it. Great renter. The rents are below market, and like I said in a few other things, I keep them below market for good renters. And this is the last house I purchased out of the 10 or so. And other than kind of a rough start, it's been going well now. It's a decent house. So that's the tale of you think you might be getting a bargain, and maybe you bit off more than you should chew. Maybe I should have researched getting rid of Curry just a little bit more than I did. But I ended up getting a reasonably good deal on the house, and it's with the market recovering now. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to sell it. The thing is, basically, I'll start selling the houses when the renters move out, but I want to do it before I get too old, but I certainly don't want to kick out a good long-term renter. So that's kind of the quandary there. Once you finally get good long-term renters and you eventually want to retire from the business, you got a slight issue there. Anyway, I hope it was informative. Thanks for watching.